I mean churches talk about one another here. How many of you know what I'm talking about? That's why we're blessing a church every week. We've got to be a blessing. Let me say finally that absinthe is the wisdom from hell unleashed. Listen to James 3. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show it by his good life, by deeds done in humility that comes from wisdom. But listen to verse 14. If you harbor bitter envy and ambition in your hearts, do not boast about it or deny the truth. You see, if you've made your heart a harbor that the ship of bitterness can sail in and dock, who's controlling you? Listen to the Bible. Verse 15, such wisdom does not come down from heaven, but is earthly, unspiritual, and of the devil. For where you have envy and selfish ambition and bitterness, of course, too, you'll find disorder and every evil practice. Earthly, epigeos, that which is over the whole earth. Sensual, that's psychological or emotional feeling. And demonic is daimonia. It comes from demonic oppression. You want to open your life up to the enemy, you just allow this bitterness that rises from the demonic spirit to take over you. Now let me just say this about it being earthly quickly. You're going to get out before 12. Listen. Epigeos, that which is around the world. Now let me show you what happens. And I'm not going to participate in this anymore. I've just decided not to. You know, you look at the celebrity world. What do they do to each other? You look at Paris Hilton. She goes on a late night talk show and gets insulted. Just a young girl. But I mean, you know, she just got awful problems. But the Hollywood mentality is to joke and laugh and cut and mock and expose people's greatest weaknesses. And we can't let that come into the church. Folks, we got to love each other. We got to forgive each other. Now, is there an answer? Oh, is there an answer? Let me tell you what's already happened. I'm not going to tell you how the demons are operating right now. Listen, some of you are already thinking about the person that offended you, and you're already struggling with it right now. Am I telling the truth? Even if it's me that offended you, you're already thinking, who's he to be telling us? I'm telling, listen to me. Are you already thinking about that fight you had with your mate yesterday? And her sitting on the other side of the car on your way in. We're going to church. Yep, we're going to church. Young people, you're hurt at somebody right now. And you can't let it go. And it's already come up to your mind. Let me tell you how to get rid of it. I'm glad it's coming up. You know, sometimes you got to throw up spiritually, mentally, just like you do physically to get rid of poison. It's not a good image right before lunch, but I want to throw it out there to you. All right, these steps and we'll be through. How do you conquer absinthe? First, we must be directed. We must have heaven's direction. James 3, the wisdom, verse 17, from above is pure, peaceable, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy. We'll do it another time. Or if somebody else is singing your song. Oh, this is worse than I'm wearing your choir robe, isn't it? You fight more hell in the music department, excuse me, Ken, anywhere you do in the church. More prima donnas and primping and got to have this, got to have that, or I won't play, or I won't show up. Get over it. Go to Las Vegas if you want to be a performer. This is a church of Jesus Christ. Willing to yield. Willing to step aside. Willing to say, you go first. We need heaven's direction. Number two, We must put away wrong words. Listen to Ephesians 4:31. Let all bitterness, how much bitterness? Let all bitterness, wrath, anger, clamor. I don't even know what clamor is, but clamor and evil speaking. Put it away from you. With all malice. Get the malice out of your heart. You ever been happy when something bad happened to somebody that did something bad to you? That ain't right. You ever kind of said, yeah. Yes, you have. Don't look at me spiritual. Let's decide we're not going to use the wrong words. Number 3, we must forgive those. We must pardon those. Whether it's our husband, our kids, our parents, our teachers, our coaches, our friends, our Sunday school teacher, our pastors, our song leaders, our whatever, we must forgive each other. Ephesians 4:31 follows with this. After putting away those words, he says, be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God, for Christ's sake, has forgiven you. Now, here's what you got to think. I'm going to forgive you, but I'm never going to forget it. Aren't you glad he forgave your sins and remembers them no more? As God, for Christ's sake, has forgiven you? Well, Pastor Ron, what else do we need? We must bring the cross to every situation of our lives. Now, this isn't in the notes if you're following me in the sound room. In Exodus 15, the children of Israel on a journey, they came to Marah, the bitter waters of Marah. They began to cry out and complain that they were going to die of thirst with no water. And Moses says, give me a tree. He cut down a tree. And he threw it into those bitter waters, and they became sweet. My friend, we need to throw the cross into the river and the springs of our life and cure it of wormwood and get rid of absinthe. Amen? You say, how do you do that, Pastor? Well, somebody hurt me. Oh, yeah, he got hurt. Nailed to a cross, lied about, spat upon. But you know what he said? Father, get even with them. Father, talk about them. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. Hebrews warns us, lest any root of bitterness be found in you, and it spring up, and by it many be defiled. I've never had anyone get in bitterness that didn't take 2 or 3 with them. But today I want God to throw the tree at me. How about you? I don't want any more poison flowing out of my belly. I want rivers